So let's turtle. Y'all of you, I think, did Roy use turtle at all?
Yeah, I should.
Yes, sir. How do I start turtle? Yeah, I'm not writing it. Y'all gonna help me. How do I start turtle?
Import. Isn't it turtle?
All right. So far, so good. Obviously, it works perfectly. Perfectly. All right. Now, turtle is an object. So how do I create an instance of this object? First of all, what's my turtle's name? Fred?
Leo. Roy.
Leo?
Leo.
Oh, no, Leo. No,
T.
no.
Mine's name T.
Oh, yeah, we did.
10 equals.
Ready for church.
No, not that. What,
Turtle dot capital turtle?
what did you think?
Isn't it
Turtle
dot?
dot capital turtle?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Parentheses.
So far, so good. We got our turtle there.
Wow.
He is,
One thing.
he's not doing much, but he is there. Now, the book talks about creating a screen and a window. We don't technically need to do that because it will do that by default. So we're going to skip that line just to make our code a little bit shorter. So what I want this turtle to do, I want it to draw like a spiral. Okay? So basically it's going to go over, take a right, over, over, take a right, go over, take a right, over. Just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
You want
Okay?
exponential?
Yeah, well, not really exponential, but I just want him to keep growing. Okay? Until he reaches a certain size, then we're going to quit. Because the major part about recursion is what? It needs to stop. That's a big issue with recursion, because if you keep calling it, stop, you sooner or later have to stop the darn thing. So we need to come up with it. So our turtle is going to go until he reaches a certain size, basically. Okay. But before we do that, how do we make him go forward? Do I know how to make him go forward?
Isn't it turtle dot forward?
Okay, but I need something before that.
Don't you need to assign it to the methods from the class? Some variable?
Right, some variable. So my variable in this case is Fred. He's
Yeah.
my turtle object.
Yeah.
Fred dot forward. Okay, so I want him to go forward 10. Just put in 10. Okay. Obviously, we're going to change that value. So there we go. Fred just, wow, he's, can't really tell. Actually, I'm going to make him go 100 so we can tell that he's actually going somewhere. There we go. Now we know he's actually turning or doing something. How do I make him make a right-hand turn? Fred, that right? 290. Okay, so we turn. Now let's make him go forward again. So let's go Fred dot forward 110. Actually, go 100. By the way, you could do it either way. You could do it with the name forward or FWD. I'm pretty sure works as well. Oh no, it doesn't.
No.
Yes, it does.
No.
What is it? Is it F?
It's forward.
It's FD.
Oh, FD. Okay, I knew it was something. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. There it goes.
What is it?
Well, it's short for forward. Okay. So this line here and this line here I do. Okay, so now we're going to make another right-hand turn. I want him to go forward again, so I'm just going to copy that code a couple times. Okay. So let's see what he does. Okay, so he made a box. All right. So far, so good. Everybody got a box?
Correct.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's probably a yes or a no.
I got it.
So I'm going to run mine again. Yours should look like this at this point.
I can't believe I just missed it.
Now, if I wanted him, actually now since he's actually has some size, I'm going to shorten him from 100. I'm going to bring him down to, actually, I'm just going to do 10. I want to see what it looks like. 'Cause I want my screen's going to get too full if I make the numbers too big. There we go. You still can't see it.
Do 25.
Yeah, we'll do 25. We're going to change all this part in a minute anyway. But. Okay, there we go. Now we have our little box. Well, in my little box, actually, let me run this again. If I'm making a spiral, so basically it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So what number should I make bigger? Which line should be longer? Top, right, bottom, or left? Okay, I heard right. Okay, we're going to make this thing. We got a right, with a marker that sucks. A right, and a bottom. Only 2 people voted. We got 19 more people to vote.
Right.
We got another one for right.
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 Oh, we're winning.
What was that?
We win.
Just because everybody's saying right.
It's only 4 people out of.
See, when I said right, I meant the right answer.
Oh. Secondly, I don't think anybody. Okay, I agree with this guy right here.
See? I
So you
made them
think
right.
about it. Goes over now, the next one needs to go a little bit farther over, or else he runs right into himself.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's make the bottom one go over a little bit longer. So the bottom one. So this ends up being the top. This ends up being the right. This ends up being the bottom. So let's go with 30. But since we made the bottom longer now, don't we also need to make the left longer? Because what happens if we take another right?
You don't end up making all the longer as you go.
Right, they all need to become longer. But really, the first 2 were okay. But then we just need to keep making them longer after that. It's a very good point. So the way we're writing this is really stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. What? I'm trying to prove a point that this is not the way you should do this.
Don't listen to do it.
Okay? Because then I could, I could take this code now, since we have a box, I could take this next code, change these 25s to, what, 35 now? 35, let's go to 40, 40.
Nice.
That's a little much. Oh, duh. Oh, my bad. Just go to 5. Okay, either way, this is stupid to write it this way.
Yeah.
Okay, you agree with that? It's not a good plan. So we're not going to do this. So don't worry about writing the last word because it sucks. Okay, which one? We go forward, 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 forward. Okay. So I'm back to my original circle, original square here. I need to put this into a function to draw this. Okay? So we need a function that's going to call that. So what can I call this function? What are we drawing?
Square.
It's not a square,
Spiral.
a spiral. So how do I make a function called draw spiral? How do I do that?
Define. Draw spiral.
Okay. Okay, so let's try this. Oops. No. What the heck did I just do?
Arithmetic.
No idea what I just did. Okay, and here we're going to call draw spiral. Okay, should I do it?
No.
Oh, I mean, should.
We'll do it once.
Okay, it does it one time. Okay.
So we need to make a loop.
So how can I call this twice.
You call it inside the function.
I can call from the, but if I could just call draw spiral, we can't. But the problem is we're really writing on top of ourselves. So what Josh says, we need to really call draw spiral from inside draw spiral. But rather than passing it these lengths, these 25s and these 30s, why don't we pass it a number? What do you think?
Maybe.
Let's pass it, we'll just pass it a 25, okay? So over here, I'm going to retrieve this as, let's say, well, we'll just call it length. So I can, actually, I'm just going to do LEN, make it shorter, less typing. No, I can't.
I was gonna say, wouldn't I?
You could pass it another argument right now to define the ultimate ending
Right,
point.
which I could. I just don't want to get there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, very valid point. By
You
the
see
way.
where I'm going?
Oh yeah, you're exactly where we need to end up. So I'm going to replace all these numbers with length. Now when I run this, I get my square again. So it's working. Now, from what Josh said, not getting to what Will said yet, but from what Josh said, I could call draw spiral from inside of draw spiral. Okay? And I can actually pass it length. So let's see what happens. This is our function here. We're calling draw spiral passing a 25. 25 gets received into length. Then we draw forward 25, forward 25, so on and so forth. Then we call draw spiral again, passing at 25. But what if we pass at 25 plus 5? And now it's going to keep getting bigger each time. Okay? This is still not correct.
Here we go.
So mine, I did it before you did the +5, and it did just a perfect 4 square.
Actually, that's kind of cool. Actually,
That's so nice.
I'm not
Mine
sure
looks
what that's
different.
doing, actually.
that is wow.
When before you did the +5, it just did a perfect 4 square. So it just kept doing the same 4 squares over and over again.
Yeah.
And now
Oh, I see what it's doing. Every single time it goes through the loop, it's 5 pixels bigger. And
Yeah.
so in order, you need to change the point at where it adds the value.
Yes, we definitely do.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I like those.
Mine looks
I like
different.
Summers better.
That's mine.
It's not going to stop though.
No, it's not going to stop.
Oh.
That is cool. She reminds me of spiral graph. I know most of you are way too young for that.
spiral graph.
Does anyone remember spiral graph?
Yeah.
Like 1, 2,
Okay, all those errors.
Okay.
All those errors.
So
Why is that so many errors? Turtle.terminator.
yeah, we got a
Okay.
problem.
Like this.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Oh,
obviously, by making so Summer's code, I mean the result was totally different. I bet your code is very close.
I know.
So making small, minute changes, and you end up with night and day difference. All right, so we need to fix
it
this.
outside
Welcome
the,
back.
if you define length as a variable instead of as an argument and added 5, I think you might get close. You know what I mean? Because when you're passing it as an argument, you can't, length,
Actually, here's what the problem is. Okay, let's talk about this code for a second. We are first calling draw spiral. We're drawing the entire square. Then we're adding 5. Drawing the entire square again from the starting position where it was. So that's our big issue. What we need to do, because if we're drawing a spiral, what happens to each line? Does each line have to get bigger, or we draw 4 and then they all get bigger at one
we
time?
draw 4 and then it gets bigger.
Each one gets bigger.
You draw a line, every single line has to continually increase.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
what we're doing right now
Yeah,
is
yeah,
we
you're-
draw all 4 the same length.
yeah, that's what I thought you were asking.
Oh, okay. So what we need to do is get rid of half of these lines. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this.
So we only need 1.
And now we're going to draw a line, turn 90s, make it longer, draw a line, turn 90, make it longer, draw a line. Yeah. See everything?
That works.
Let's see if that's closer.
Going so far.
Yep, there it goes.
Whoa. You see the problem we had and how we fixed it?
Yeah, we had too much.
So you can already see how recursion, this is technically recursion, but it's not correct yet. You can already see how we took 4 lines and made it into 2. Actually, no, it was 8 lines because we drew a line, turn, drew a line, turn. So we took 8 lines and made it into 2 lines by using recursion. Okay? Actually, and I'm going to attempt to undo what I just did. So I took all of that code right there. So this was on line 15. Can I redo? So I went from 15, so I lost 5 lines of code, but I have better functionality, yes.
Since this technically doesn't end, is it really a recursive program?
It
I know
is.
it calls itself. But
Right, recursion means calling itself, but a correct recursion stops at some point. So now back to what Will said. How the heck we can tell this guy to quit? So whenever you have a recursive function, normally the first thing you want to do is check, should I quit? Okay? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is check, should I quit? So where should I put that in my function? Probably at the very top? What do you think?
I agree.
Okay. So what type of data structure should I use or statement should I use to check something?
An unsigned integer.
Wow.
Oh, variable. Put a variable in
Well,
there.
I mean,
Wow.
what's the statement I need?
Oh, a conditional.
Right, a conditional, but yeah, conditional statement.
Yeah.
That, but what's if, he said. I need an if statement, a conditional.
Oh.
If this is whatever. So if length is less than something. Now we haven't given it that something yet. Because we've never told this thing when to stop. Okay? So we start with 25. Let's say it does it 10 times. That's what, 250. Let's stop at 300. What do you think? Is that good? So I could put 300 right here. So now what else do I need to do? I need to tab it over. Now let's try this thing.
It hurts my eyes.
Okay. So that worked perfectly.
Like, you'll stop.
But you know what? It's not really a good idea to hard code values inside of a function. So I'm going to put, and let's put stop. Is there any way I could pass stop to that function?
Another argument.
Yeah, just another argument. Stop. And down here, I can pass it aside. Oh, wait, then I had 300. So now, since I'm passing it 300, when we call this, does anyone see the arrow yet without running it? I pass it 300, it receives 300, it continues as long as it's less than 300. So what's the error?
Well, it's because it says if length is less than stop.
All right, so that's correct. 'Cause remember, it starts at 25, it's going to go 30, 35, 40, 40. So that's correct, but where's the error? Because since now draw spiral takes 2 arguments, what happens to this guy?
Oh,
So if I run this, it's going to be like, eh.
yeah, but it's going to tell you where your error is.
Right, it's going to tell
So
me.
what line is it?
It's this
9?
line.
Okay.
It's line 9.
Yeah, it needs another.
It's like, hey,
Just
you need 2 arguments. Now, we learned when we talked about classes, we could give it a default value, but we're just going to pass it stop.
great.
That should fix it. that.
Oh.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh,
I don't know what it actually was. That turtle.
Isn't that nice?
What happened?
there it goes.
All right, now, I need, my turtle's going too slow. How do I speed up my turtle?
Try that speed.
Turtle, or
I'm trying to see this one.
what's the fastest? 10 the fastest?
I put 80.
I think anything over 10 is still 10, isn't it?
If it'll take 80, put in 80.
Yeah, it takes 80. Nah, that's really fast. I don't think it'll take that.
I'm pretty sure it still stops at 10.
Oh, you.
Pretty sure it does. I'm now going to put it in 10 and see if it looks like it was about the same. No, actually, it was faster. There's some number it stops at. Maybe it's 100. I can't remember what it is.
I put 100 and it went about the same speed as yours.
Okay, so it's 100 then. I knew it was something like that. And all right, so we run this guy now. Isn't that awesome? But you know, I think he's not tight enough. So I'm gonna change the 25 to a 5.
Stop. Oh.
Oh yeah.
You said, what'd you do?
I changed the 25 to a 5. Right at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Now, see, you notice now we're changing values here. That's affecting the entire program. Isn't that awesome?
There you go.
It's going.
Oh, it's because I changed it from a 90 degree angle.
All right. You know what? I really hate that arrow. I want to change his icon. What is it? We need to change him into an actual
Oh,
turtle.
that's cool.
that's what I was trying to figure out. But I
That's-
know how to do it.
Come on, what is it? Someone, I'll have to figure that one out. Come on.
What
We
was
got
the
to change him. We don't like that arrow. We want him to be an actual turtle.
Hey, I put draw
Oh.
spiral 1, 300.
Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of this
It's not
one.
dropping below, at least on my screen. I don't know. I just want to see.
It'd probably be too big.
Yeah, it's doing the same thing to me. That's not 1 pixel.
Huh.
Maybe it's 1 turtle.
Oh, it probably is. Yeah, we would have to actually specify a PX, I think, for specify
Okay.
pixel. Yeah.
Okay.
So come on, how do we make him? Someone tell me, how do we make him be a turtle instead of an arrow? I'm not gonna figure it out. Y'all, someone else figure it out. Sheep.
Sheep.
Oh. Sheep. What?
I don't know if that works. I'm just guessing.
This is Summer's guess. And ooh,
No.
Well,
someone got
Oh,
an
shit.
idea. How can we possibly figure it out?
I can't.
Well, it brings up a list if you start typing in the command, and it'll bring up a list of auto finish stuff.
I don't. I can't
So
remember.
what do I start typing?
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Power of Google.
It's not an icon.
Red dot something, and then it'll start auto counting.
No.
Well,
God,
red
which-
dot
Where's
is
the autocorrect?
Come on.
shape transform. I'm not sure if that
No,
does
there's should be a short way.
turtle size.
I think it's actually icon.
Oh, really?
Is it?
Fake.
it's shape.
Oh, it is.
Hey, show,
Maybe icons for the icon for the window then.
Yeah, there is no.
It's
icon.
shape,
but the
it's shape method.
Ah, it's in quotation.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it needs it as a string.
Right there.
Maybe a lowercase?
Single quote.
Single shouldn't matter. I bet it's lowercase.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's got to be green. No, we need green.
Now you
That's
can change
that's
the color.
tab or Fred dot color.
Yeah, for that color.
Fred that.
I know that.
Fred that fill color.
Is it fill color?
Yeah, fill color.
Phil Cole should fill in the box, but he
Color
never
will
completes
change
the box. There. Oh. Wow. That's awesome. All right. That was too damn easy.
I don't know about that.
I was gonna say I don't know about that.
I mean,
There's a refresher on turtle though.
I
Yes.
like this. I like this a lot.
and it's
This looks great.
Hey, can we do one that's like a geometric progression instead of, adding 5? Can we multiply it by 1.1?
sure.
1.2?
do that.
1.2.
So how do we do that? So instead of going up by 5 each time, how do we make it go up?
I'd create a separate function and pass it, but you could just remove that +5 and add it.
You could do
Multiply
length
it, but
times
1.2. There you go.
1.2?
No, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I just want to see what happens when you go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So maybe if we went
So that's a different kind of recursion. That's like,
1.0.
yeah.
Oh.
We'll get there.
That poor turtle.
I like that one actually. That's kind of cool.
So you multiplied it by.
What we did was we said, remember, length started off at 1. Now we passed it 1 times 1.02.
Why don't you just make that function real quick? It wouldn't take but a second.
I was gonna say, I
put
wanna
that
see
up
this
there
function
by
you're
Greg.
talking about.
Okay, what do you want me to call it?
A transform function.
Mine's is freaking out.
Transform.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good to find.
So what are we going to receive? The length?
You're gonna have
It's so
you're gonna have the length.
You do
You're
0,
gonna have the
0, 0.
transform factor,
I did
and you're gonna have
0.01.
the total stop factor as arguments.
1.0.
This is called total. Okay.
Yeah, well, call total stop at least. So we know. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'm
And
not
then,
getting anywhere.
Do the same thing you did before, where you set length to
Let's,
whatever
reduce the number of
default
zeros
value
there.
if you want.
Well, we're passing it a default value here.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Eat up, friend.
You see what I'm saying?
I
Then
have
just
it at
pass
like 1,000.
transform into draw spiral.
Oh,
And then you can
inside of here?
Yeah, and then you can pull transform inside draw spiral on the recursive one too. See where it says
Okay,
length
so you're
times
saying
1.
here-
Yeah, right there. Yeah, exactly. And then it'll pass it into draw
That's
spiral as
one.
the recursive one.
And the factor will be 1.02.
Yeah.
And we'll say 300.
Perfect. And then you have to define those in a transform. But
Yeah, length.
That's crap.
And it says speed demand.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change. Actually, length will stay the same.
So just set it to default of 1.
I mean,
Okay, what is this?
tell me it again.
Factor? Well,
Yeah, that'll give it a default of 1.
now give it 25 at least.
Let's just go with 5.
Okay.
Just 5.
It'll eventually crash.
And then your factor.
We
should
really
be-
don't even have to specify that.
Your factor should be 1 as a default.
Okay, factor equals 1. Remember defaults? So- And actually, we need to pass it the turtle itself, or else it's not going to work. Yeah, we're going to have to pass it the turtle, or else these defaults won't work.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't fixed the
nice.
bottom one yet.
That's good.
So it's going to get length,
What did you do?
it's going to get factor,
I did it right. That's right.
That's
and
cool.
it's going to get total stop. Is that right?
Are you gonna leave that length in there without anything, just that variable?
No, I need to fix that. I just haven't done it yet because we need to increase length.
Going forever.
Come on,
Increase it by 20.
length, but wait, hold on. Something's not going to work. Because if we increase it here,
We haven't defined factor yet, have we?
yeah, we ain't done it.
No.
My problem is if we increase the length here, length will now be only available to this function, so it'll never be passed to this one.
What if we would draw a spiral is just transform?
But we're going to have to put it in this bottom one here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put
But-
transform there.
You could just define length outside as a global function.
Yeah, there's got to be another way to do it. Well, let's
Yeah.
think about it. We got time. Let's think this through here for a second. The transform is really just changing the values. So what is, oh, you know what we could do?
That's cool.
I mean, you're already passing it the same stuff. You're just defining the transform in the draw spiral function.
Yeah, but then the transform is just going to return one thing
It's
though.
a starting.
And that one thing is going to be passed on to draw a spiral, so this is all going to be 1.
I don't know, you could put stop in the beginning and
Yeah.
then it would, once it hit the rest of those arguments, it might ignore them.
Instead of having a defined number, can we do an input? Do we input those?
I'd rather not get in for this too much work. So let's see here. Because we could always return a string delimited by a character, then we could use split to break it apart to get the other values, but then now we're adding more code. That's not what we want. I think it's actually better without transform, since we were just adjusting that one value anyway.
You could define transform inside the spiral, the draw spiral function.
Or, hold on, what about
I mean,
this?
If you just
What if
access-
transform just received length? And in here, length times 1.02.
That's close.
So now,
You added.
then down here, hold on.
get rid of Fred.
Yeah, we don't need Fred anymore. We don't need to stop anymore. We need this. That'll work. Then this here would be transform.
You need to relook at your code for transform because you're passing
Yeah.
102 to transform and then adding 1.2 to it again as the return. But what I'm saying is, yeah, there you go.
Let's try that. Let's see what we get. What the heck? What can it do? Crash?
That's incorrect. Yeah, that's what it said.
Darn you.
You need to have another parenthesis.
Oh, no, I need to get rid of those. Yeah, that's right.
What? Maximum recursion exceeded. What does that mean?
I'm going to change this to 2.
Maximum recursion.
I think it did the same thing.
Yeah, I did the same thing. So we really didn't save any code by doing that.
But it was worth a try.
Can you show? I didn't see what you mean.
Yeah, but you're saving code now. You're not having to rewrite that every
Yeah.
single time you want to do something to it.
No,
That's true. Kind of looks 3D. You know what I mean? It kind of looks like the middle part is in farther.
Or out further, depending on where you're looking.
It's funny, I've never been able to see 3D in my life. I went to Universal, I saw 3D this time. It's weird.
What's your code? What did I do? Oh, you took everything out of here. That's what.
Yeah, and notice I'm actually passing an argument of transform with a length, and I'm passing stop.
This is.
So, you know.
You should change this to 5.
So what we could have done is we could have done factor.
I'm scared of this.
So goodness.
So pass it a 5, 1.02, then yeah, this one's even better.
You can get rid of that return, I think.
No, you still need the return because you need it to return a value and it ends up being the length. And now it's not going to get a factor, so now it's going to have darn it.
It needs factors of variable.
Yeah, it needs factors.
This was nice.
Forget that idea. That part didn't work. Ah. Is that right now? Okay, but we're back to.
So why is it giving us a whole lot of errors?
I think it's an error.
Oh, it's not now yet. Why was it earlier? Just
Oh, because I stopped in the middle of it one time.
Looks like we have the same thing.
Is turtle the only animal you can use? Just curious.
No, you can put other stuff in.
I tried to put that, but it
I was gonna say, I tried something else could have been one.
What? Okay, what are the other ones in sports? Someone go Google what shapes does turtle sport?
Arrow, classic, circle, or square.
That's all.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
Actually, I kind of like that one better.
No, that's not maximum recursion.
It should have other animals, or at least like a little symbol.
Why does it?
I don't know why it was named turtle.
Okay, I like the turtle better.
It only does
Why
turtle.
does it do this to me? All right.
So it's like it's rather.
Now he's blue. All right, I don't know if I like the exponential, if I like it just that. Oh, he's never gonna go.
Ta-da-ta-da.
He might be here a while.
It's just type
They
one.
didn't take this through.
Stop! Stop!
Oh, stop it.
It's going insane.
So, okay, I want to add 5 each time. Let's go length plus 5.
Looks back
Alright.
there, it wasn't here.
Ta-da.
I just think that one's better. I don't know. All right, so
Keep going.
what do you think? So is recursion all that bad?
Not terrible.
I
That's
mean,
pretty
if you make
trash.
Did you choose the color background?
You can make it very complicated.
Okay.
You
But, I mean, did he talk to you about Tower Hanoi? You talked about Tower Hanoi.
No,
No.
Talk about what?
Tower
Tower,
Hanoi.
you didn't cover that?
No.
I don't think
No,
we
we didn't have time.
Just say it clearly, because I couldn't understand what you just said.
Okay, Tower of Hanoi.
Oh, yeah, we talked about Tower of Hanoi.
I had to write that in one of my programming classes.
Oh, no, that's not gonna be our final, is it?
No,
Oh,
hell
okay.
no. No, no,
Oh,
no.
God.
Tower of Hanoi.
Just give me an F now, if that's the case.
No, no, no.
Play Tower of Hanoi.
Yeah, this is Tower of Hanoi. You basically, doesn't it go by itself?
Yeah, it has super simple rules.
But without this, so say we go up to 8
Oh,
disks.
I remember this one.
Can you imagine doing this without recursion? I mean, it would take forever. And since it's such simple rules, recursion is perfect for this. There's an actual, okay, hold on, what's the theory behind it?
Well, you should explain the rules at least for Tower of Hanoi.
It looks like you can't put a bigger disc on top of a
That's
small
it.
disc.
The patterns of movement, here we go. Let's look at Wikipedia. We know that one's right.
You know that one's right.
Everyone's reading this. Oh, okay. Tower of Hanoi, of Brahma. 3 rods, a number of discs in different sizes. You can slide them onto any rod. The puzzle starts with the discs in the near stack in assembling order of size. On 1 rod, the smallest is at the top. Here's the rules. Only 1 disc can be moved at a time. Each disc consists of taking the upper disc from one and moving into another. No larger disc may be placed on top of a smaller. But there's the theory behind it, where it's got to be in here somewhere.
Origins.
Okay. The story is about an Indian temple in this place that consists of a large room of 3 time-worn posts in it, surrounded by 64 discs. It says, acting out the commands of the nation, prophecy has been moving these, some dude has been moving these discs in accordance with immutable rules since that time, since 1883. Puzzle is therefore also known as the Tower of Babel. According to legend, when the last move is completed, the world will end.
Oh,
Oh,
that's kind of scary.
Yes,
that turned a tragic turn of events.
because it is, how many discs? Is it? 64 discs. Because even with 8 discs, this thing is still going. It's going to take 255 moves, period. So if I restart this, to move those 8 discs from 1 to here, it's going to take 255 moves. If I go 9, seriously?
That's a high good.
Well, that just sucks.
Math is fun until you try and figure it out.
Isn't there another one?
Look at videos.
I think that's an actual
Oh, this one. Well,
game.
darn it. You should be able to make it go more than that.
Try YouTube.
So, actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. Is that what you're just at?
Yes.
No, it isn't. That's not what I want, though. I want the math is fun one.
Yes, you're back up. There you go.
So, with 3 discs takes 7. If I add 1 more disc, it goes to 15. If I add 1 more disc, it goes to 31. Then it goes to 63. That's basically doubling it every time.
Double plus 1.
So, you know, so 9 discs would be over 500. 10 discs would be over 1,000. So you can see how this could take forever. So I don't know, kind of fun, but we will be doing this in another class, just not this class, because but no, I had to write that. So it's kind of a cool thing. It's always a really good recursion program, because once you get the code right, it's literally simple. You just move it to one that's bigger. It's not that big a deal. So, all right. So everybody got this working?
Yep.
All right. So here's what you need to do. You need to take a screenshot of your. I don't care if you do it at on the same. On one shot, I want to see code and the output.
Does that
Here's does not look exactly like that. That's fine, as long as I can tell that it's recursive.
so it doesn't have to be the same shape or anything?
No. Just put all in one or two, I don't care. Just screenshot, put it up in there, and this has to be recursive. And that's it. I don't need to see all your code. Just so I can see you have some of the code. All right. Very good. That's all you got to submit for today. And then you can go home 20 minutes early.
Nice.
Isn't that nice? So next week, I'll have your final program. It's going to include reading from the file. It's going to include a class. I do not know if it will include recursion. Probably not. It might.
That is interesting.
Okay.
How did you get through that?
I'm just changing the color.
All right.
As it's going.
Oh, I understand.
So
That's
I'm
smart.
going to stop my recording then. So
It's like
post it
most
up there by 2 o'clock.